Okay, Livingston have been promoted back to the Scottish Premier League after a 12-year absence. They've had a lot of financial difficulties in that period. They actually were having financial difficulties before they were relegated. This is a big issue with Scottish football, is the finances and TV deals, such as the collapse of ITV Sport back in the early noughties, the collapse of Setanta, the collapse of Gretna, which then caused a domino effect for other clubs, including Livingston. They've been as low as the Scottish third tier. They've had a similar story to Rangers. It's been a hard road back. They've lost in a playoff final previous seasons, but they beat Partick over 2 legs, 3-1 on aggregate. They're back into the big time in Scotland. This is a story that deserves more coverage than it is currently getting by the mainstream media. Excuse me. Obviously, Tranmere were the first English team to get promoted through the playoff system from the National League to League 2. So the playoffs are now in full swing. Up and down, north and south of the border, the playoffs are now in full swing. Hopefully, I do feel sorry for the Partick fans and the club. They just obviously, over the 2 legs, just weren't good enough. They have to rebuild and then look to bouncing back straight away in the first season. That's their objective, is to bounce back. Same with Ross County, they have to bounce back as well. But Livingston did finish second, and this is where the difference between the Scottish playoffs and the English playoffs. The bottom team in the Premiership gets relegated. The top team in the Championship gets promoted. The second team in the Championship plays off against the second bottom team in the Scottish Premiership, and the winner of that stays up. That is a very interesting way of doing a playoff relegation system. And clearly the Scottish model works for Scotland, and the English model works in England. You could argue the Scottish model could be used in England and vice versa in Scotland, but that's how the Scottish FA have decided to do their playoff structure. Very interesting playoff structure. In the 12-year absence, yes, they've had further financial difficulties in 2009. They have been demoted, similar to Rangers down the leagues. They battled their way back up. They're now back at the top table. That extra income will help the club, but they've also got to try and be as competitive as possible and not just be there just to make up the numbers. The last time they were in the Premiership, at their first attempt, they did win the Scottish Cup. And they got into Europe. So they have to balance the expectations of the fans, and the expectations of the club needs to be right, survival first and foremost, and be as competitive as possible. And with Steven Gerrard going to Scotland to manage, that's going to create further interest in Scottish football, which is a good thing. More eyes will now be on Scotland because of Steven Gerrard going to Rangers. That's something that's also got to be mentioned. And Livingston are not. I don't think this playoff has got enough press coverage south of the border. It should be noted. We could argue combining the Scottish Championship and the Scottish Premiership into a bigger league may make it more interesting, more competitive, similar size to the English Championship maybe. That could possibly help some of the issues. But Livingston getting back is a very important little tale. Well done to Livingston, hard luck to Partick. Hopefully Partick can bounce back at the first attempt next season. But this playoff structure is very interesting in Scotland, and it's something that I'm slowly getting used to, and I'm looking at how the playoff structure works, and it's a very interesting little playoff structure, and it obviously works in Scotland very well. Could they implement that similar playoff structure in England? Because no one system works 100% effectively, and no 100% of all fans and clubs will agree with any system. There's always going to be discussion, but I'm going to leave that there. So thank you very much for watching. This is a little video on Livingston's success, and commiserations to the Partick club. But that's how the system works in Scotland. It's been effective for a while. So that's how it is in Scotland. But no, thank you very much for watching. Place your comments below. If you are a Livingston or Partick fan, I'd like to hear from you about your views on the 2 games. And why Livingston were better. And why Partick came up short. That would be interesting to hear. I think Scottish football doesn't get the press coverage it deserves, because it is still a British league. It's still a professional league structured for the most part for the first 2 tiers. It gets a bit more part-time the further down you go. And with Steven Gerrard going north of the border to coach, hopefully more interest in and more money and investment can go into Scottish football from both the grassroots and some of the other clubs outside of, other than Celtic and Aberdeen. That would be nice to see. So we shall watch the Livingston story, we shall watch the Partick story and see what happens next season for both clubs, whether Partick can go back up and whether Livingston can stay up. That would be interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.